Hi everyone, it's Danielle from Finding Silver Pennies. I'm so excited to be sharing with you guys my favorite watercolor brushes. I often get asked which ones I use the most, and this is what they are. Today I'm going to start with a size 6 round brush. This is by Princeton, and I use round brushes frequently in my watercolor practice. I like the round brushes because you can get very many different types of strokes. You can do lines, you can do petals and flowers. So I'll just take you through all the different options you have with these brushes. This Princeton has synthetic bristles. And these brushes are pretty affordable, so great for a beginner or someone who is more experienced. As you can see, the brush snaps back to enable all different styles of stroke. If you press down with the brush, you can get a longer, flatter line. You can also get a cool stroke if you have less water on your brush, so it gives it like a dry brush effect. These are kind of C strokes. And oftentimes when I'm painting, I just will warm up by doing different shapes on a piece of paper that I know I'm gonna just, use as scrap paper. So it's a great way to warm up as well. So these brushes come in all different sizes, and I use the 4 and the 6 most, but I often use a 10 too for bigger areas. The bigger the brush, the bigger the space you can paint. So you would probably want to go with a smaller brush for more detail. So if you're doing botanical, a lot of botanical artists use a size 2 and a size 4. But I find 4 and 6 are the best for me. Hmm. I thought it would be fun just to share some flower shapes with you. So this is great for making petals. You just start lighter and press down. It's my favorite thing is to watch the paint on the paper. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you can do with the size 6. Next up is the size 4 round brush, which is very similar. This is the Velvet Touch Princeton Heritage, and I decided to paint in different colors so you guys could see the difference that the paintbrushes give. This is very similar. It does long, narrow strokes if you use the very tip of the brush. Just have to make sure you have enough paint on the brush. do horizontal lines. And then if you press down, you get a broader stroke. And you can see the kind of dry brush because there wasn't enough brush on my paint to do a solid stroke. You can also do little petals. But this brush also can fill in areas, just like the 6 or a bigger size round brush. I often use this style brush to do waves and layer the paint. This is just giving you an idea of the different gradations you can achieve with this brush. And that's wet on wet, which makes the water, the paint kind of bleed into the water. I love these brushes to do leaves and petals. And I also love just doing lines and easy strokes with it. It gives you an idea of just the different looks you can achieve with this brush. It's very versatile, and I think it would be a good one to add to your collection if you're just starting out. So you can kind of see how I would maybe create water. If you could picture that as more like a blue. So that gives you an idea of the size 4 round brush. Next up, I want to share with you flat brushes. And they come in all sizes, and the bigger the brush, the more coverage you'll get. These brushes are great for washes or covering a huge area of the background. So I'm just getting some water on my brush. And here you can, this is more like, I don't think I have enough on it, but here you can see this is I'm gonna show you, this is a wash of a solid color. And you want to keep like the bead at the bottom and slowly work your way down. So you can see this is a gradient wash, and really what you want to do when you do that is to tip the paper and add water as you go. But this brush is perfect to do that style. It's great for skies and oceans, anything that you might want a gradient in. This brush can also do lines, like big bold strokes, flat lines. It's also great for creating to paint like a bigger area on the paper. If you want to do big bold strokes, it's good for that. Or bigger petals. And you can also do like a dry brushing effect, as you can see. I don't use this brush as much as the rounded brushes though for the style of watercolor I use. The bigger one will just give you more coverage. It does exactly the same thing. And usually use the bigger one on a bigger, a bigger painting, a bigger area. So that is the flat brush. Now I want to share, this is the Squirrel Mop brush. And this brush I really love. It holds a lot of water. So you can use it for detailed lines. It holds a lot of paint. I created a bunny with this one that was very popular, and I just loved it because I could just keep painting and adding colors and textures. You can do things that look like grass, curved shapes. It's one of my favorite brushes. It is quite expensive though, so if you're just starting out, you maybe don't want to invest in this brush just yet. You can see you can do like the centers of flowers and continue on adding some color to the flower. It's good really for like loose watercolor and them like modern watercolor effect. I love it for doing leaves. And it's great too to do like flowers, but also stippling because it holds so much paint in it. So something like this could become like a butterfly bush or lavender, if you think about it in a different color. And finally, the last two types of brushes I want to share. This is a script brush, but it's similar to a liner. I actually don't have enough paint on my brush right now to show you fully, but I use this often to do grasses or kind of fine details or fine lines in a painting. So I found it very helpful in my set to have this style brush. I do a lot of watercolors with the ocean, so I love to add seagrass, but it's also great to do grasses in arrangements or whiskers. You can also add something like the ocean with this, some waves. You can see it gives a very delicate line. This is a detail brush, and I think it's a 02. I like to have a couple different sizes of this. It's really good for getting into little details or dry brushing. So if you want to do speckles or some small details on a flower or something on an animal. I use these a lot when I do little eggs or in a flower. So that gives you an idea. It's a small brush, so it gives fine detail. You can do little lines and stipple. It's more like dry brushing, so you can see the texture you get with that. And you can also do lines, little lines. So those are the brushes I use. I hope it was helpful to see what they look like. Follow me for more.